Hey y'all, and welcome to Culture Cult, where we are one podcast with 197 countries to explore stories and history from. I'm your host, Marie, and this week we are doing travel stories. So that's when you send in your best travel stories to be read aloud, and we hear from guests on their favorite travel stories also. So send in your favorite travel stories to our email, culturecultshow@gmail.com. And remember to comment, rate, and subscribe to the show. Cheers and enjoy. Hey y'all, guess what? It's another cousin episode coming on today. She is the sister of Emma Collins, who was in our chaotic Ain't That a Kick in the Shins travel story episode, where Emma literally got kicked in the shins by a French guy. And this is Emma Collins' sister, Grace Collins. Welcome on.
Some people like to call me Gravy, apparently.
Gravy, yes. Yeah, wait, where does that nickname come from? I feel like I just started calling you that, but...
Okay, listen, I actually don't know where Gravy came from. I wish I could tell you.
Honestly, I love Gravy though. People be like, whoa, who's Gravy? I'm like, my cousin.
She's Gravy.
But I was gonna tell everyone this would be a special episode where we're gonna start semi-sober and then we're gonna progressively get drunk by taking shots throughout.
Yes.
Hey, listen, let's go ahead and do our first shot.
Oh, we're doing a shot already?
Yeah.
By the way, my shot is just going to be a sip out of my bottle of tequila.
Hey, like a pirate.
This evening. Cheers.
Prost. Okay, so you're in New York right now.
Correct.
You're in New York. When did you just move there?
I moved not even a month ago.
I'm going to ask you some quick fire round New York questions. And remember, I know you're a newbie, so just really go off of your opinion.
Oh, God.
Okay, really quick. Boom. Again, you've only been there for a couple weeks. What is the most underrated thing about New York in your eyes?
Underrated? Yeah, I mean, I've only been here like less than a month again, but I'm still so impressed how quickly you can get around the city.
Oh, yeah.
It just like amazes me. I literally crossed in the entire city and it takes me 40 minutes. And it just mind boggles me.
That's crazy. Okay, I do want to ask, what is the weirdest thing you've seen yet in New York?
So I've heard some crazy subway stories.
Oh.
And I've only been on the subway a couple times. I haven't been alone because I'm still a little freaked out by them. Just because all these horror stories. My friend was telling me all these different rules that you should have going on the subway.
Wait, like what?
I don't remember all of them. I probably should. But one of her rules was if you go onto a subway car and nobody's sitting down, don't sit down. And I was like, okay. She was like, yeah, my friend told me the story about someone she knew who got on a subway car, no one's sitting down, and he sat down, he got burned by acid.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Why?
They were just on the seats. And I guess everybody.
Oh my God, his butt got burned?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
And I was like, now I'm never sitting down on a subway.
I'm never sitting down. Why?
That.
Wow. What? Okay, that could be its own podcast, Subway Stories, hearing about that shit.
It's horror stories.
Yeah, it's just like depressing. It's like this guy comes on, he's like, my ass got burned. I went to sit down. Oh my God. Okay, no, but for real. So you're born in New York, but you've also lived in the south of France for a while. What parts of you feel very French because of you living there? Or do you think there's parts of your personality now because you lived in France?
Yeah, I lived in the south of France. I lived in Aix-en-Provence for 2 years. When I was in high school, I went to boarding school there. I mean, I think maybe I became more of a coffee snob. And like I say that in all seriousness, I refuse to drink Starbucks or Dunkin'.
Well, I feel like that's very normal, honestly. That's just trash coffee. Like you don't even need to be
very
in France.
picky about my coffees, which is like so snobby.
No, you're really good at picking
but
coffee.
It's like
though.
you get like such good coffee for like €2.
Good God. Yeah.
Coffee, and I think every day I got coffee and a croissant for a total of €3.
Ugh, that is a mood. But yeah, I just wanted to go over where you're from, what's going on in New York. Don't sit on subway seats, y'all. You're going to get your butt burned. But we are here for a travel story. So Grace is going to tell one of hers, and then I'm going to read out a fan story someone wrote in. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take another shot. This time, I'm not going to complain this time. I'm really going to try to be like a strong individual.
I'll just drink from the bottle, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
cheers.
Cheers. Whoa. Oh, God.
Oh, I hate vodka.
Wow.
I'm sorry to all the vodka lovers out there.
I don't know why I chose vodka. Listen, here's the thing. I love vodka. I like the feeling vodka gives me. Drinking it is rough.
See, I'm the opposite. Vodka makes me feel horrible, but tequila is a magical beverage.
Tequila is that friend you always want around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whiskey is your storytelling friend, your campfire friend. Maybe you go camping with that friend. Vodka is that friend where you have a crazy night and then you don't hear from them for like months and they're like, want to go again? And you're like, no.
Absolutely not. Okay.
That was actually sounded really cool.
So my travel story is about when I moved to New York less than a month ago, as I mentioned earlier. I was living in Asheville, North Carolina at the time. So my flight from Asheville was at 9 a.m. to Charlotte and then Charlotte to New York. So I wake up at 3 a.m. for absolutely no reason, probably because I was stressed about, waking up early anyways.
I know that feeling.
I woke up 3 a.m. I looked at my phone and I have a notification and it's like, your flight at 9 a.m. has been canceled out of Asheville. And
oh my God.
So I called my mom and I was at my parents' house, by the way. And so I called my mom and my parents were out of town. And I was like, my flight got canceled. I'm going to miss my connecting flight, blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, okay, well, there's an earlier flight out of Asheville at 7 a.m. Can you make that one? And by the way, I had planned on having a friend drive me, but I would have to see if this friend is awake at 4 a.m. And so she was like, call him. And so I did.
You called him at Fort Pitch? What? I would kill you.
5 a.m. when I called him. And he was definitely asleep when thank God he answered his phone. He was like, hello. And I was like, can you drive me to the airport right now? And he was like, what? And I was like, can you drive me to the airport right now? And he was like, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Wow, what a good friend.
I know. Shout out.
Wow, what's his name?
Vitor.
Vitor. Let's take a shot for Vitor. A little sip.
Shots for Vitor. Or sips.
Sips. He deserves a shot though.
He does, but this might
we're drinking really heavy right now.
Anyway, shout out Vitor. Thank you for answering the phone at 5 a.m.
Yes. Good friend.
Anyway, so Vitor got me to the airport and all was going well. I was there earlier than I needed to be. And flight attendant is like, let's board the flight. I get on the flight. Everything's good. Everybody's on the flight. We're about to head out. Somebody comes on the plane and they're like, okay, I hate to be the bearer of that. And I was like, are you kidding me? And she's like, the toilet keeps flushing. So they don't know what's wrong with the toilet in one of the bathrooms. So everybody has to get off the plane. Over the toilet. I was like, nobody, I was like,
who cares?
This is a literal 20-minute flight.
Hold it, bitches. Hold it.
Like, nobody has to pee in 20 minutes. Like, there's 2 bathrooms on board. Okay.
But that one needs to stop flushing. Okay.
Like, everybody can use one bathroom. Nobody's going to die. All get off the plane and they delay it, but they don't tell you when it's going to take off.
Oh no!
At this point, I'm like, what?
You have a connecting flight, right?
Yeah, I'm connecting flight.
Stressful.
So I wait an hour, I think, and then after an hour they delay it 3 hours or something.
Holy crap! Over a toilet.
I changed my connecting flight to a later one, and then they delayed my other flight even more, and all the other flights were booked up, and so I was like. I can't get on this flight. I have to find another way to get to Charlotte.
Oh my God.
Otherwise, I'm not going to make it to New York. And I was unfortunately flying last minute and I was moving into my apartment the next day. So I had to be in New York that day. And so my mom was like, screw it. Get an Uber to Charlotte.
From where?
From Asheville. So it's not 2-hour drive, but it's almost 2 hours.
Crap.
And
that Uber driver made money.
What's funny? That Uber was less expensive than my Uber from the airport in New York to my friend's house.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wait, wow. I should Uber to places now.
So I got in an Uber to Charlotte. Shout out to the nice Uber driver who had to drive me to Charlotte that day.
He was always saw that notification. He was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, he actually said that when I got in the car. He was like, Charlotte? And I was like,
Like, please just go.
He was like, okay. And then anyways, so we're chilling. It's a good car ride. Everything's fine. 10 minutes before we arrive at the Charlotte airport, we get in a car accident. It was not the Uber driver's fault.
Jesus.
Somebody started merging into him.
Idiot.
Like into the lane that he was in, but like he was there. And so he started honking, obviously, at this person, but they kept merging in. So he was like, slowing down, but they hit the top of his car.
Oh, no.
And so it wasn't a bad accident, but, we had to pull over. And then this lady decided to try and blame him and say it was a fender bender and it was his fault. And I was like, come on. No. So this poor Uber driver was freaking out. But I was in another world at this point. Like, we were on the side of the road. It was almost 12. My flight, I think, was at 1.
Okay, I can't. This my anxiety right now I can't. Right now, you're in the middle of a car accident on the way to the airport that was not even your original airport because of the toilet was going to stop flushing.
Stupid toilet. I actually don't even think that plane ever took off, by the way. I think they actually ended up canceling that flight.
Wow.
But anyways, so I'm like, okay, I need to come up with a plan right now. And so I was like, I can either see if I can get an Uber to pick me up off the side of the highway. And then I was like, oh my God, wait, I have a friend. I was like, oh my God. A friend who lives in Charlotte. And I call him. I'm like, hey. And I like never call this friend. Like I communicate through text with this guy. So I'm sure
why is she calling me?
And so I called him. I'm like, listen, I'm in a little bit of a situation. I need you to come drive and pick me up off the side of the road and take me to the airport and get me there before 1.
Oh my.
And he lived 20 minutes away from where I was.
Oh my God. This is so stressful, guys. I really can't take this right now.
So he's like, okay, give me 5 minutes to get dressed. And I was like, okay, hurry. I was in like problem solving mode at this point. And anyway, so he arrives to me at, I think it was like 12:20.
Oh my God, I can't do this. My heart.
Okay. He to the side of the road. He pulls into the side. I grab my stuff, get in his car, and he's just cracking up because this is the most ridiculous situation ever. And I'm about to cry. And I'm like, anyway, so I make it to the airport at 12:31.
I can't take this.
I walk into the airport, realize I'm in the wrong terminal.
No.
And I'm like, whatever. Because the Charlotte airport, you can walk to the terminals.
Oh, okay. It's not like Atlanta.
So I was like, I don't care. I was like, I went to the closest security. I was in terminal B and I needed to be in terminal D.
Okay.
And so I get through security. I'm hysterical at this point. I get up to the guy and I'm like, my flight boards in 5 minutes. And he was like, what? And I was like, my flight.
That's why I Ubered here from Asheville.
Like, you're crazy. And then I was like, yeah. And he was like, go along, And I was like, thank you. And so I freaking flew through security. And then I, in a movie, ran.
Yes.
Like a hippo, probably. Because I didn't bring a rolling suitcase like an idiot. A duffel bag and my backpack. So I was like holding on my backpack, my duffel bag, like running through the airport like a hippo. I looked ridiculous. And I was bolting through the airport. I made it to my gate at 12:39. My flight boarded at 12:40.
I cannot.
I was the first one on the plane. And I was like, oh, my neck hurts. Because I was in a car accident. And my body was finally like, oh, you were in a car accident.
Like, and he just ran like a hippo.
Like show the symptoms of whiplash. I have my little my neck heat pad.
Dude, that is a crazy story. I truly don't know what's worse. I might have like a little fan poll. What's worse, my Mexico City holy shit story or this? I don't even know what the toilet flush conundrum. Like I don't
flushing conundrum car accident shenanigans.
I don't know what's more stressful. I cannot stand stressful airport experiences, especially when you're having to run. But honestly, last time I had to run, I kind of felt cool. I felt like a linebacker. I was like dodging people. I feel like I was like running in a movie and there was someone chasing after me. It was cool.
I definitely looked.
Yeah.
Dude. I did not look cute in the Charlotte. If you saw me that day running,
like, is that gravy?
title boxing duffel bag. Yeah, that was me running through the Charlotte airport.
Every time I see someone running, I'm like, oh no. They're having one of those days.
They're having one of those days.
They got in an Uber crash and had to drive 2 hours. Let's take another little gulp for your Uber driver and a little prayer.
Yeah, my Uber driver, I hope, I hope that you didn't get blamed.
Lord.
I actually did try to find his phone number or something on the Uber app or some way to contact him, and I couldn't figure it out. Just
so you can be a witness at least.
Yeah. Well, the police took my information.
Okay.
But I was like, should I check to see if he's okay? But I didn't find any.
It wasn't like a horrific crash, but
no, we were both physically fine. I think he was freaking out because this lady was trying to blame him. She's trying to blame me. And I was like, it wasn't your fault. And the police asked me a couple questions before I went, but
yeah.
And they took my information.
Well, honestly, props to your Uber driver.
He's okay. And
yeah.
Doesn't have to deal too much with that.
Yeah.
Car accident.
Oh, okay. So that was your travel story. I'm going to now say the fan story that someone wrote in. And I chose this one because it actually takes place in New York. And this is so New York. This is so New York. Okay.
In New York. Okay. We're going to stop now.
When someone stops listening, they're like, no. I was okay until this point.
We're singing off.
Okay. Okay, so it starts, while living in Manhattan, I stayed in a small apartment in Times Square with 4 women in their early 20s. It was not as fun and fancy-free of an experience as my previous sentence would suggest. There was a gym. Yeah, because this kind of sounds like a TV show at this point.
Just don't stay in Times Square.
Oh.
Just don't. I was there the other day, and let me tell you, when I say I was running to get out of Times Square, I was running to get out of Times Square.
Stop.
You just don't want to.
She was hippo running. She was like,
no, I was speed walking.
Oh my God.
To look normal, but I really needed to get out of there. I was scared.
Yeah.
I did not
okay. You know what? Your Times Square is our Hollywood. Let me tell y'all, people, come to LA. There are so many great things about LA. You don't need to go to Hollywood. You don't need to go to Hollywood. Hollywood, you will see someone take a shit right in front of you and look you in the eye. And then now you have to walk away dealing with that. That happens often.
It's just, there's so many, every single tourist goes to Times Square for
oh, this is very different now. It's like Hollywood's just ratchet. You're talking like Times Square is too intense.
Well, there's that. And then there's some sketchy people around that area too, but it's always insanely crowded. And there's people that you do not want to be around. And,
yeah, no.
And I was like, I need to get out of here.
I feel like, no one in New York that lives there ever steps foot in Times Square.
No, the only reason I was there, I was meeting up with somebody in that area because she wanted to buy a souvenir for her friend or something like that.
But okay, so yes, he said it's not as fun and fancy and free as an experience my previous sentence would suggest. There was a gym on the 4th floor I would start every day in, and one such morning I thought it'd be quite the lark to stop by my favorite coffee shop by Central Park before returning to my apartment to shower. Sounds like a lovely morning. As I entered the lobby, I was swarmed by 2 doormen and a security guard, sweaty and underdressed for an inquisition. Fucking sentence, sweaty and underdressed for an inquisition. Oh, that's a band name right there. Sweaty and underdressed.
That's a song name.
The song name, sweaty and underdressed. Oh, that's a good. Okay, I felt the gravity of the situation. Who's your friend? Excuse me, I asked. The person who just came over to see you. He gave your name, room number, and said he was here for you. I've been at the gym the last hour. I didn't invite anyone over. Check the security tapes. One of the 3 leaves for a few minutes and comes back. He's like, oh, we are afraid of this. He goes on to explain that 2 or 3 times a day since I moved in, men have been coming to the building, giving my name and room number, and then coming up to our apartment for half an hour or so. Evidently, before I had moved in, there had been a problem with one of their roommates in prostitution. And we would later learn that she had been telling her clients to tell the concierge they were going to see me. And dude, and he's like, we thought you were selling drugs. The doorman laughed. We thought we were going to have you arrested. Dodged a bullet there.
Oh, wait. So one of his roommates was a prostitute?
Yes. And so she was telling her clients to say, hey, I'm here for what's his name at this room.
Guys, what did I say about Times Square?
Literally. And I love is that he's innocently enjoying the city. He's like, I love New York. I'm going to get my coffee. I'm going to Central Park. He's like, I am a New Yorker. Meanwhile, they're like, yeah, just say his name and we can have sex for 30 minutes.
She was totally taking advantage of him being at the gym.
Yeah, you're so right. And the coffee runs. She was like, this guy's away exactly 30 minutes every day.
That's enough time for me.
Exactly enough time for me to make my money. Yeah. And it's also so terrifying. That actually scares me. I have a huge fear of like being framed and stuff of just like, I'm here minding my own business. Meanwhile, someone's conspiring against me. They were going to arrest him.
That's just like, oh, man, that's crazy. That's hilarious. Also,
it's hilarious because he didn't get arrested for prostituting or for being a pimp.
Oh yeah, they could have totally been like, "You're definitely a part of this. You're lying." You know,
he's like, I literally just want to get coffee in New York.
I just want to get coffee and walk through Central Park.
He's like, I love Times Square. They're like, that's sketchy.
You know what I realized one of my New York fears is?
What?
I've been seeing these people on TikTok. I'm such a youngin. On the TikTok.
Youngin.
But you know where people like come up to you and they have a microphone and ask you questions?
Like Billy on the street.
Yeah, like that. But there's a lot of people who do that around New York because I see them on my TikTok and I'm like, I don't know where that is. Like, and I'm legitimately afraid that one of these people is going to approach me someday and I'm going to make a fool out of myself. Because I'm not going to know, like half these questions, I'm like, I don't know the answer to these questions.
They just write dumbass on the screen.
I'm going to be virally made fun of because I didn't want to interact with some person on the street. Marie, I think I would straight up just keep walking. If somebody came up to me.
And then they would be like, typical New Yorker.
And I would just be like, and they'd be like, oh, never mind. I would just keep going, keep minding my own business, going about my day. I think
there's a way to approach people, and coming up to them with a camera and with frantic energy is just not the way.
That just scares me.
But also back to the story about being framed and stuff. My uncle, who's going to be on this podcast, Uncle Carrie, he's on the other side, and he used to live in Austria, and he almost got arrested there because he had the same name and look of a guy, of a convict on the run. And he got interrogated for hours in a foreign police station.
Okay, but I bet that's a fucking good story, though.
It really is.
But also imagine that happening in a foreign country where you're not a citizen.
Hey, have you ever heard of Amanda Knox? That shit's crazy. Yeah. Do you think she murdered her, was it roommate?
I think it was her roommate.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you I had an opinion. I don't know enough about that case to have an opinion.
I think she did. I think the Italian media is crazy. So I feel like
well, that's the other thing. I feel like if you're a foreigner,
oh my God,
it's more difficult.
Oh my God. You can't defend yourself. Not at all. There's a phrase of it of like, whatever gets out first in the news sticks. It's not like an actual word by word frame, but it's an idea. And with her, it's definitely what happened. The media picked her as the villain. And I don't know the facts, but I'm just saying they picked her. So therefore she's a murderer to everyone before she even goes to court. That's just so scary. Like, I can't, like the idea of being framed. But yeah, also I wanted to tell you that one time I took this test with this girl in college. She was like, let's take this test one day. Let's take this future test. And so she gets back. Okay. So she gets back hers and it's like, you're going to marry rich. You're going to be successful. You're going to have babies. You're going to have a house. I get mine. Mine literally says I'm going to be exiled from a country. What?
Like ratchet fortune telling or something?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was a long test. Like it was like 70 questions. It was really intense. And it was very in-depth. It wasn't just that. It wasn't like BuzzFeed where it's like, you're going to be exiled. It's like, it was like an in-depth. It was like, you chose pizza as your favorite color. You're going to be exiled from a country. Like, it was actually an in-depth test. And it told her that she's going to be rich and have a house or something. And I'm going to be exiled. And I was like, what? So weird. I also took a fortune teller and she said I was going to marry a man in a suit, not a suit, a man in a uniform in a port city.
so anybody. Like, every man wears a suit at some point in his life.
Typically in a port city. I have to meet this man in a port city.
Is LA a port city?
Yeah.
But,
well, it's all.
So you're going to be military?
I don't want to date anyone in the military.
Firemen. Oh, I love firemen.
Oh, firemen? Bring them on. Bring on those firemen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We found my husband. I'm probably going to date a fireman in a port city.
Do it.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, okay. So usually these episodes are more organized, but we've been drinking.
Don't drink.
Hey, let's go ahead and take another drink. Let's go. Let's make this even more unorganized. But yes. So we told our travel stories. We've had some ASMR. I'm gonna wrap up the episode with some exciting stuff. Gotta do some business. Mm-hmm. So we have some exciting news. We have a cult membership now where you personally can join a cult, this cult right here. And one of our members, his name is Chelsea Presley. And so I also want to tell y'all, and I asked Chelsea to do this also, send me, if you join the cult, it's $5 a month. And I will shout out your business or your art every episode or on Instagram. And with this $5 a month membership, you'll get longer and exclusive episodes and secret episodes. Secret, maybe some ASMR. just for cult members. And and I'll promote you. And so Chelsea hasn't sent me anything to promote yet, but I know she is a badass businesswoman. So I really do want to promote her, but she is one of our members. And so if you want to join the membership, you get a link. The link is on the Instagram, the bio, and it's in the show notes. And eventually, long term, I want to be sending y'all exclusive travel tips and even exclusive discounts to travel and fun merch, but that's in the future. But yeah, if you want to join the membership. And yes, so lastly, this was a travel story episode. So I need more travel stories written in for sure for this next season. If you got time out of your day, write in your favorite travel story. Just DM the Instagram at culturecultshow or email them into culturecultshow@gmail.com with your best travel stories. Now they can be funny, they can be serious, they could be your Uber crashing. Who cares? Just leave your name and
I hope nobody else gets into
yeah, no, you're right. Crashes. Yeah.
That was my second car accident too, in the with
I know
6 months. So would not recommend.
Yeah, maybe not that one. Send in anything fun and serious. But you can, and if anything, shout out your art, your business, I'll give a shout out to you, or you can be anonymous. And yeah, that was our business corner. But so stick around if you are a cult member. We're going to have an extra part of this episode where we found this account. It's from Auburn, Alabama. It's on Instagram. It's called Question of the Day. And me and Gravy will just get really drunk and randomly spit on questions. And the questions are slightly awkward sometimes. And it's really good. It's so much fun. I actually do this a lot with random people. Roulette. Yeah, it's question roulette. That's what it is. So for everyone else, I hope you've had an awesome day. I hope y'all been getting your day drunk on. I hope y'all enjoy the travel story, honestly. Good travel stories. And so, but for everyone else who is a cult member, we're going to take more shots and read out these cringy questions. And cheers.
Cheers.